Good evening, good afternoon. Sorry about that. The stream just stopped for whatever random reason, but it is what it is. Uh, Continuing with the Sydney Watson video response, apparently white women crying is dangerous now. And the premises of this is one of those arguments you don't want to have because it makes people really uncomfortable. I will acknowledge that white people have been dicks to pretty much everyone else, and it's horseshit. But at the same time, I'm sick and tired of having it shoved in my face all the goddamn time. Like, and the point I made on part one specifically was that everybody else hates having their stereotypes thrown in their face. Better not clink that bottle, boy. Better not watch my videos. Troll. Yeah.
No, seriously, lobotomize me. They often point to historical events to justify this position. The most common one that you'll
Yeah, and people will often point to history as a way to do the thing that they're doing, and it's kind of unfair for them because their ancestors have had to face it. But it's also ever so slightly unfair for the white people who are actually decent people. And last time I checked, you shouldn't judge a person by anything but character. And fuck sickos. Got beer at my nose. That's a waste of good beer, but that's a fun little party trick. You can spray it like champagne. You take a full beer, place your thumb over it, give it a good shake, and then leave like a little bit of gap right there at the top. Let's just spray it in your mouth, dude. Bloody hell. So there was a story that they were talking about. So like I had to retrack, like, okay, where did the video cut off at? Okay, right here. Okay, now I know where to continue the argument from. Fuck racism.
is about Emmett Till. He was a 14-year-old boy back in 1955 who whistled at a white woman named Caroline Bryant, who then told everybody that he'd manhandled her and been inappropriate with her, and then he was subsequently mutilated and lynched. The Bryant side.
And here's the thing of it, YouTube. If what the allegations were saying were true, then he got lynched for a good reason. However, if he was perfectly innocent in the situation, and then if the woman pulled an Amber Heard on his ass, basically, then his punishment was unjust. And yeah. Oddly enough, no one's gonna say that Amber Heard's weaponizing her white tears against Johnny Depp because he's also white, but I didn't say that out loud. Shh.
The issue has claimed one thing all this time, whereas Till's family has claimed something else, and there's an
ongoing argument to this day of both families fighting with each other.
Argument between the two families to this day. Realistically, what happened to Emmett Till was awful. And if you take race out of the equation, if somebody lies, which a lot of people think...
Exactly my fucking point. This is a really fair point. If you take race out of the equation, then all of this really looks like is a bunch of people whining and complaining and lying and being assholes to each other, you know, and that's just... People are shit, man. All you can do is, you know, be a decent person and live your best life.
Caroline Bryant did.
And stressing this point, it's hard to be a decent person when the world craps on you. Like, you try to be a good person, and it's like, this is not your fight to fight. Although if you don't say anything, you get blamed for contributing to the problems. And it's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So again, I apologize if the live stream cut off halfway through the Sydney Watson video response. I didn't do it. I'm sitting here watching the video, giving my talking points, and I look over. I'm like, "Oh shit!" It is what it is.
In this case, and that leads to another person being murdered, dying, or even incarcerated, that's wrong. Consider
Yes, if the accusations lead to a person who is innocent being, you know what I'm saying, punished for something they didn't do, that's fucked. And I shared the Buffalo Wild Wings story because it's the truth. In these kind of situations when people are just going off the YouTube pooped videos, and because you're white and it's easier just to fit the scapegoat kind of thing, you know, like I felt like I handled that Buffalo Wild Wings incident maturely. I walk in to use the restroom, and there were a bunch of people just hanging out in the bathroom, rapping and beatboxing, you know. And like I got into the circle, just waiting to use the bathroom. The urinal was out of order at the time, and well, I'm sitting there nodding my head to the beatboxing, not trying to cause any problems, just trying to use the bathroom. And I get in to use the bathroom, and this tall, scrawny black dude threw a wadded up toilet paper at me. And I'm not complaining because compared to what whites have done to blacks, you know, and he's just like, Dr. King Cobra's a racist. And I'm just like, you know, I was like sitting there and I look at the toilet or the toilet as I'm taking a piss, and then freaking the wadded up toilet paper, paper towel, whatever he threw at me. I said, well, I guess that makes me white trash. And then I walked out of the bathroom. I didn't say shit. He was all mean mugging me, like, do something about it. Like he was challenging me, dude. He was seriously like he was intimidated by me or some shit. I don't fucking know. I just ignored it and walked out of the bathroom. I'm like, I don't got time for this shit. I'm filming a badass documentary for my YouTube. So, yeah, you have fun with that. And the thing of it is, YouTube, if I didn't care, I wouldn't fight or do these video responses talking about race and gender and shit like that.
the event in the time period in which it happened, things were very racially charged. And there are also
And that's the truth. The story she's talking about happened in like 1955. So back in that day, yes, people were super fucking racist. You could also smoke indoors, you know, it was a different time, but that doesn't excuse racism or people who are racist today.
different standards and views when it came to safeguarding women. Black Americans didn't have many protections. It is precisely because of how awful parts of this time period were that we had a shift in consciousness and the way that we approach and treat other people. By today's standards, for example,
That's exactly why we have the issues we have in our society today. It's because people were dicks to people back in the day.
if a white woman were to be genuinely terrified and emotional towards a white man, everybody would be like, ah, believe women. But the moment that same woman is scared of someone who is non white, we are forced to assume that she is racist and her motivations for doing what she's doing are also racist.
That's the bitch of it, YouTube. A lot of people will not come forward if their perpetrator is not the same skin tone. Unless, of course, the perpetrator is white, and then. And the reason why I'm not complaining about this really in depth too much is because I check my privilege. And the second we start seeing black cops spraying white people with a fucking fire hose, like they did in the fucking 50s and 60s, you know, towards black people getting sprayed and shit, fucking, then I'm not gonna say shit because, like, you know, I have no room to complain. Like, if the worst people are gonna say about me is you're racist just because you're white, in comparison to how black people have been treated, that's, you know, eh. Believe me, this video response is super uncomfortable to make, so I'm approaching this as diligently as I can.
Because I do not want critical race theory taught to my children in school does not mean that I'm a racist, damn it.
Yes, it does, goddammit. Critical race theory teaches us to not forget our past, so this is why we are not racist in the present. And at the same time, I don't want it shoved in my fucking face. You know, like, Jesus Christ, what do you want me to do? Grab a fucking time machine, go back in time and kick these assholes in the balls? She's crying because she's sick and tired, like a lot of white people, sick and tired of having the "you're a piece of shit" white blah 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 stereotypes of white people thrown in your face constantly. And it's like, dude, if you were a white person and you were to throw anyone else's stereotypes into their face, you'd be labeled a homophobic, a racist, a sexist, a misogynist, a blah, 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 blah. It's stupid, YouTube. It's stupid. Critical race theory is nothing more than just teaching us not to be racist. So what's fucking wrong with that? At the same time, not everything is racist. There is this thing called race baiting, and it's super fucking annoying. When these overly PC pieces of shit have to be offended by everything. At some point, you're just like, how is that racist? Educate me. And they start going off about how racist it is. It makes them look more racist than you, to be honest. You know, and the example I used in part one is it's the truth. If you have a Churches or Popeyes or KFC type commercial, and to be fair, fuck racism, fried chicken is universally loved in many cultures. You can go to Taiwan or Vietnam or in China and go to like one of those Asian, like how, you know, how they have the outdoor markets in those foreign countries. I think it's cool. I'd be down to see, you know, like the world and like the food and the culture and the music. It'd be an interesting experience, but that's beside the point. If you go to like Taiwan, for example, you go outside to like the open outside markets. There's like all kinds of ingredients you can get. You can order fried chicken halfway around the fucking world. You know what I'm saying? But that's beside the point. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth. Like, if you were to have a commercial featuring everyone but a certain group of people, you'd be labeled a racist. And then if you did have those people, those individuals in that commercial based off of racial stereotypes, you'd be labeled a racist either way. So it's just like, man, white people like fried chicken too. Bullshit. Unless you're vegan. And if you're vegan, you're missing out, dude. Kentucky Fried Chicken's extra crispy drumsticks and a big old fucking thing of KFC famous gravy to dunk it in. Oh, so fucking good, dude. Fuck racism.
What about if someone was non-binary?
Come again?
Non-binary?
Isn't that precisely what that means?
Yeah. And realistically, anyone can use their feelings to manipulate other people.
That is the goddamn truth. Sydney Watson said it right there. Realistically, anyone could use their feelings to manipulate people. People are fucking shit. And when you give them an ounce of privilege, some asshole's going to abuse it, which systematically doesn't end segregation. It just makes it worse. But it's after 5 o'clock, and I'm having a Bud Light, so fuck it. I'm 31 years old. Yeah.
Happens all the time between both sexes, across all kinds of people who look.
People can be manipulative in general. It is what it is.
The ways. Although I will say it is especially prevalent when us ladies in general, regardless of race, start losing an argument with our man. Please take me to get nachos. No.
Nachos. Cobra makes the best goddamn nachos.
This is not the end of the road for how utterly stupid this topic is. Yes, it is 2022 and it gets worse.
It's 2022. Everyone's offended. Everything's sexist. Everything's racist. Everything's offensive. Everyone's offended. You wake up in the morning mad at yourself because you took a big old deep breath, like, good morning, offensive, awful world. Oh my God, I was breathing. That's so offensive to people with COPD and asthma. I hate myself now. Man, that's how these overly PC pieces of shit work. It's like a little bit of political correctness goes a long way, but when you're so politically correct that you cannot simply just chill the fuck out and like socialize and do human shit without like going off on some political social justice rants, like where you're so fucking politically correct, it comes off as super annoying and it makes you look more racist than the assholes you're bitching about.
Component of this is tying white women tears to femininity. Femininity.
White women are often dangerous perpetrators of anti-blackness. Many see themselves as exempt from
Like, life is sad and depressing, and tell people you're not allowed to experience emotions because of that BS is fucking horse crap, YouTube. And I feel like women and men get so much crap for just having emotions like a normal human being. Like, if you don't share your emotions, they look at you like you're a fucking psychopath and needs to talk about their issues. Like, just bottle it up. Or, like, if you share your emotions, they look at you like, oh my God, you're so emotional. If you're a dude, it's like, hey, quit being a pussy, suck it up. If you're a chick, they look at you like, are you menstruating again?
perpetuating violence because of their womanhood. However, many white women use this femininity to cause problems for Black individuals. The concept of white woman tears is convoluted because it's layered.
No, girl. It's convoluted because it doesn't make any sense.
One must reflect on the historical context, the racial context, and the gender context, as well as how these three work together to create unique violence against Black people.
White women tears. White women are very much enablers of the system of white supremacy, and they play their role.
I mean, to a degree, she's right when it comes to like sexism and racism and like all these other depressing topics. They do play off each other, and yeah. But if you're so obsessed with ending that to a point where it makes you look like a bigger racist, then you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind getting offended by things like sexism and racism because rightfully so, you should be offended by these things. However, when you're offended by everything, dude, you know what I'm saying? It gets annoying after a bit. How do these people fucking sleep at night just laying awake going, oh my God.
Effortlessly. White woman tears are a lot more about impact.
I'm just editing this and I just noticed that this woman has her Venmo in the corner of this video. And I don't know, that just amuses the absolute crap out of me. So I'm pointing it out for you because, yeah, complain about white women tears. Get that bag, girl.
It's what happens when a white woman becomes self-aware of the damsel in distress trope. And
women are sick and tired of that stereotype too, the damsel in distress. Oh, help me, help me.
Is that if she cries, people are going to come defend her honor. White woman tears.
And women like it when you defend their honor, but you do it too much and it comes off as creepy and clingy.
Be upplaying something that's actually bad that's happened, like in Chelsea's case, or they can be a complete and total fabrication, as in the case with Emmett Till. White tears are about white fragility. White woman tears are about revenge.
But more than anything, I find it.
Why are white woman tears about revenge? Okay, because if all white people are bad, then what not? Okay, no. I'm not going to try to argue that because that just makes my fucking head hurt. Like, if white people are the assholes, then they wouldn't be getting revenge. In fact, you'd think it'd be the other people that they bullied over the years getting revenge through social manipulation. Boy, this is a really uncomfortable topic. Well, generally speaking, I believe you should be a tolerant person to a point. You shouldn't judge people based off of anything but fuck sickos and how is their character. You know what I'm saying? That being said, it creates a problem because outside of that, we live in a very judgmental society, you know. It's the truth. You pull out some old ass, raggedy ass iPhone, and people are looking at you like, oh, you poor thing. And it's like, dude, fuck you. You know, maybe your car's not the nicest. Fucking stupid, dude.
Genuinely gross to see people mocking white women for expressing genuine fear, sadness.
What's gross is that you're assuming that just because they're crying, it's automatically racist. Like now it's gotten to the point where if you're white, you can't show any emotion because, and again, thank the 1950s for that fucking awesome cars, but yeah, the social standards and political agenda.
And concern simply because they're white. For another example, a lot of these clips talk about a woman called Amy Cooper, also known as the Central Park Karen. They really love talking about Karens. Amy called 911 to basically report that a bird watcher was making her uncomfortable and trying to take her dog from her. Of course, she was accused of weaponizing white tears. On Twitter, the hashtag Amy Cooper is a racist trended. She was eventually fired from her job because her employer said they do not tolerate racism of any kind. She also had to do racial sensitivity training, and her life has been destroyed, so much so that I'm pretty sure she left the country. The bird watcher, Christian Cooper, on the other hand, basically became a minor celebrity. He was able to pen a comic for DC Comics about the incident, and Joe Biden even congratulated him. In his own words, from his own post on Facebook, it turns out that Christian had approached Amy, a woman.
It turns out this Christian prick has been known to like harass people in the park. That's just, I don't know, his thing, I guess. Or he just, like, who does that? Like, people are going to the park to walk their dog or enjoy the scenery, and then just some asshole comes up and starts harassing you. You know, that's fucking stupid, dude.
In a wooded area. He then threatened her by saying, I'm going to do what I want, and you're not going to like.
Now, could you imagine this for a second? You're walking in a park, and you see a dog, and you're just like, that's a nice dog you got there. And their owner screams out, they identify as a transgender tree. How dare you, you bigoted piece of shit. It's like, I didn't know that your dog identified as a transgender tree. I'm not sure how that works out, but yeah, you have fun with that. I'm not trying to pick on the LGBTQ. That was just a really shitty reference. How the fuck does your dog tell you they're transgender? I'm trying to figure that out. Nothing against trans or non-binary folks. I support what you do as long as you ain't a sicko. I'm just trying to make sense of it. Like, okay, you caught your male dog chewing on your bra and panties. So now Bush is now turning into a bitch. Because I'm pretty sure that's what dogs do. They see your clothing, they're gonna, you know. That being said, YouTube, dogs are fucking awesome.
And then he tried to lure her dog away from her with treats that he just kept on hand. But you'd never know that from the TikTokers.
You sit on a throne of lies.
It kind of turns out that Christian is something of a serial harasser at the park. In May 2020, a man called Jerome Lockett, who is
So in May 26th of 2020, a black man by the name of by Jeremy Lockett wrote that a man by the name of Christian, who was also a fellow black man, began harassing him because, you know, that's what, like I said, this Christian guy is doing. He's not Christian as in religious wise, fuck your sky god and believe in yourself. No, that's just his first name, and it's like this is becoming a reality of life. There are some people who, if they get assaulted or attacked or whatever by someone and you're white, if the person being violated or attacked or robbed is white, and then by some, and like I hate talking about this because I'm not racist and it's uncomfortable for me to talk about, but hear me out. If the person just happens to be black or a minority, all of a sudden there are some people who feel like they don't want to report it because then everyone might not take it seriously and you might get called a fucking racist. And it's like, yeah, there are some people who do that, and that's why racism sucks, is because when it actually does happen, nobody believes you. That being said, like if all white people are racist, then we can have that argument all goddamn day. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because I'm not an asshole.
Also black, said Christian had aggressively threatened him in the park. When he saw the video of Amy, he said that he didn't blame her for calling the police if Christian had approached Amy the same way Christian had approached him. Lockett also noted that other dog owners experienced similar things but didn't want to come forward and report it because they're white. Why am I not surprised?
So, what the fuck? How does this thing happen? Like, if you're a dude and you're being an absolute royal cunt and harassing people at the park, how has that individual not been banned from said park? I'm trying to make sense of this, and I can't. They're like, I don't give a fuck what your skin color is. Like I said, we're all colors of the rainbow, And if black people don't want the stereotypes of their culture being thrown in their face, why should it be okay to do the same to white people? Because, well, your people were dicks to us in the past. So it's like, does it really solve anything? No, it doesn't. At the same time, then black folks is right on the issue, but at the same time, seriously uncomfortable conversation to have right now.
Much darker level, it's worth noting that there have been plenty of instances where white women have reported things to authorities that,
like, people have accused me of being racist in the past, and when it comes to this kind of issue, I'm generally going to side with everyone else. But at the same time, without being a dick about it, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Not all white people are racist. We're not all a bunch of NASCAR watching, meth smoking, moonshine drinking, inbred pieces of shit who fly the incest pride flag and shout rebel yell. Because if you saw the incest pride flag, it'd probably be accompanied with one of these. Okay, I acknowledge that not everyone from the South is like that. That was just a good ribbon. Calm down. A good ribbon. I like barbecue ribs. Hold up, let's complete it. Throw one of these on. Golly, what the fuck is racism, y'all? Yeah!
have ultimately gone unaddressed or unnoticed because those authorities did not want to investigate and deal with the situation
You like that kick-ass banjo that was strumming on? It's missing a string, but I still got it. Check out carverbanjos.com. That was a banjo sent to me by one of my fans. And even though I kind of cheated and used a guitar pick to play it,
for fear of offending or appearing racist towards a minority group. Rotherham, Telford, other British places that I can't remember the name of.
basically the same reason why if a dude gets raped by a woman, he doesn't want to report it because nobody will believe him and they'll just accuse him of being a female hating sexist.
Thousands of predominantly white women and girls were abused and left to rot, basically, because the perpetrators in the situation were not white. If anything, maybe we could argue in these instances that because these women were white, it hurt their chances of achieving any sort of justice at all. But I don't know, I'm just spitballing. Now, if nothing else,
Yeah, to some degree, and is it a bitch that they don't get justice because they're white? And it's like, welcome to what black people have had to deal with for the last 600 plus years, you know?
I want to leave you with two main ideas. The first is that, as you all well know, I personally find the overemphasis on race incredibly unhelpful. I really dislike.
Yeah, when there's an overemphasis, that's exactly my point. If we're going to have a discussion about this. BC Rich players be like, ooh, unholy tuning. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Oh, everything today is viewed through a racial lens, and this topic is no exception.
Yeah, everything's racist, everything's sexist. It's 2022 and everyone's offended. Although 100 years ago, like in 1922, things were much different. The cars, you had to hand crank them to start them, and most people didn't think twice about racism because, and the diseases you could catch because the vaccinations they didn't have, kind of thing.
Sometimes people react. They respond to things. Sometimes things happen to them. Sometimes they don't.
So, like, the crazy thing of it is like in the year, in like 100 years from now, things are going to be different. There's going to be floating cars. It's going to start looking real futuristic like kind of thing. So who knows, Yeah.
Like somebody else. It's not always based in racism. Sometimes people just have genuine emotions and genuine reactions to things.
Thank you.
It
gets so irritating when everything in our society is based off, being offended. Like, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. Racism sucks ass. So does sexism. I'm not denying that these things exist. And I'm definitely not denying my privilege. I'm white and super autistic. So, plus, I'm also straight for of age women that are alive and biologically female. So, I've had it, like, people like me have had it pretty cushiony in the last couple of centuries. And I don't take that for granted, mind you. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but I'm one of the cool white people. Could you not do the thing you're doing that would piss you off if it happened to you. Just,
that ultimately white tears is a meme, kind of like men's tears. It's not really
no more tears, tears, no more tears. They're lighting a window, there's a racist in the sky. Your mama told you to check your privilege, you racist white piece of shit, how dare you? Johnson & Johnson, no more tears, tears. Okay, that was more of a reference to how fucking offended by our society is by everything. I wasn't meant to, yeah. We're literally seeing like a little bit of progressiveness goes a long way, but when you're forcing people to legitimately hate themselves because of their skin tone, you're just slowly turning into a reversed 1950s. That's what it, I'm not trying to be a dick, but that's how it is. And sometimes, you just got to learn to like forgive and acknowledge your privilege. And it's a bitch to say that, but it's the truth, man. Like, everyone else needs to learn to forgive, and then the white people need to learn to never forget what their ancestors have done, and then learn to be more tolerant. But when people are intolerant, it's never called out when someone else does it. Why is it always, if you're white and you're intolerant, that's just the thing. They call it a stereotype. I haven't warmed up on the guitar yet. So if it sounds like shit, I apologize.
by the cultural conditions in which we exist, and nor should it.
And that's the problem with just people in general. People exist in a society full of genetics and cultural contributions that determine how our society acts. You start to notice a behavioral pattern with society that if people have enough cultural influence, or if one person can cause enough uproar, people either gravitate towards it or they go, this person's a piece of shit.
And any individual who has the power to destroy another individual's life solely on the basis of their race is bad. And that
is racism.
That is racist. However,
exactly my point, Sydney Watson. If your sole intent is to ruin someone's life purely based off of the color of their skin, that's racist, period. Exactly my point, dude.
And realistically, all of these social justice movements that work towards finding and rooting out white supremacy, injustice, and stopping violence really are just more so working towards building new racial and now gender hierarchies that.
And this is the problem with it. White supremacy can fuck off. These people who think they're better than everyone else because they're white. Like, how would you fucking feel if every other race had that attitude towards your race? And then their argument would probably be some stupid shit like, well, that's exactly how they feel about us. And like, gee, I wonder why. You know why the Black Panthers were started? To combat these white supremacist assholes. And yet somehow they don't see it like that. Like, how would it feel to have your race persecuted and harassed and pretty much treated like shit for like the last 600 fucking years? You cannot tell me you wouldn't be a little salty about it. Like,
replace the old ones rather than encouraging social cohesion and acceptance. Now, before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out established titles using the link in the description. When you do, you get 10% off your purchase and you get to have a plot of land next to my plot of land.
and fellas, it don't matter your skin tone, my dude. If you're a guy 18 years of age or older and you want to attract an 18-year-old female, yeah, get a little love in your life, you gotta check out that tactical soap. Excuse me. Beer burps are tasty. I was running pretty low on my last bar of soap, so I cracked open a fresh bar of Bond tactical soap. The last one I was showering with was my Maverick #3. However, I cracked open a bar of the Bond #1. I like the way it smells, leather and charcoal with like a little bit of sweetness. It's masculine enough, and women like the smell of it, dude. When I wear the tactical soap and I go to the bar, chicks like the way I smell. That is just a God given, and women don't have to try that hard to seduce men. You know, just show up and say yes. And pretty much every guy will want you to a point. That's just the power women have over men, and I'm not mad about it. I respect it, you know. And the way I see it, tactical soap evens the playing field respectfully, you know. Just because the soap has pheromones in it doesn't mean you're gonna get laid, you know. That is, after all, her choice, and consent is everything, fellas. Yeah, you can wear a pheromone soap that makes of-age women horny, but if she don't act upon it, well, I guess that's her loss, fellas. Which is kind of my attitude towards the dating scene anymore. You start looking at life and going, okay, I got 40,000 plus fucking subscribers. Fuck the trolls. And if chicks don't want to date me, that's their loss, not mine. Yeah.
Now, I open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? Is this topic totally ridiculous? Do you?
It is ridiculous to a point. It is ridiculous, YouTube. I'm not going to deny that, yeah, white people have been some real fucking assholes. You know, Adolf Hitler was white. Okay, and that doesn't help my argument, but we're not all like that. Fuck that piece of shit.
It's grounded in reality in some way.
In some way, it is grounded in reality. Yes, it's okay to acknowledge that people are assholes and that this is our history and this is why we're no longer like this. That's what critical race theory is about. But instead of being like, that makes total sense, Cobra, you got these fucking privileged white cunts who are whining because now they feel like they're being attacked. Well, gee, imagine why. Imagine that. No respect.
Do you think that the historical part of this is important concerning Emmett Till? Do you think that?
Yes, the historical part of it is very important because if she actually was raped, you know, then yeah, fuck him. But if the dude was innocent, then that's equally as fucked off, in my opinion.
That should be the basis for white women tears thing that we currently are seeing today. What do you think the Amy?
All the white women tears bullshit. Ugh.
situation? Was that fair? Was that unfair? Is it totally crazy to you that nobody actually knows the full story about what went on there? And what do you generally
The reason why nobody knows the full fucking story is because that story happened in 1955. It is now 2022. So a lot of it's going to be he said, she said. And that's going to be generations of people on both families just continuing this segregation and hatred, you know?
of this issue overall?
And if you want to cut down on rape and like fight rape culture, stop treating sex like it's a need. There are people in the Ukraine who are fighting for their fucking lives. There are people in Africa dying of AIDS and starvation. There are people dying of cancer. And you're sitting here, you know, like, oh, you need to get laid. And it's like, it's not a need, it's a want. You know, you think you'll be happier with more sex in your life. Truth be told, that doesn't always make it better. What it comes down to is, and I think I made clear of this in my last part 1 video, is women are pressured to give men sex and always look their sexiest, whereas men, we're pressured to be our toughest and always get sex. And that creates such a toxic culture in our society. Where, like, if women get sex, they're slut shamed for it. If men don't get it, they're called derogatory, demasculating things. You're such a homophobic slur. You're such a little pussy bitch, you know, fucking. It's stupid, dude. Society is fucking stupid. But luckily, Cobra is a distinguished and very sophisticated, to a degree, polite breath of fresh air. Yeah.
As always, if you like the video, hit subscribe and the thumbs up button. If you want to leave a comment, feel free to do so. Just be respectful about it. And I will see you guys next time.
Yeah. Like, no offense to anyone or Sydney Watson particularly. The reason why I haven't done a Sydney Watson video response in quite some time is because some of her videos get so depressing and I get so disgusted by society that I can't. Like, you try to be a good person and society doesn't stop you, and that's the point. Like, it gets so depressing, you're just like, ugh. You can already see the video response and you're just like, at this point, you're beating a dead horse into the ground. Play Freebird. Well, if I knew how to play it, I would. Keep it going for a little bit longer. Stretch it out to like 48 minutes. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened. I was sitting here doing this goddamn video and it crapped out on me halfway through Sydney's video. And I'm like, well, son of a bitch. Okay. Fire it back up. Track where I last left off and just continue from there. Because clinking my glass really pisses off my trolls. Talk about hitting the bottle, am I right? Okay. Now, the videos you've seen entitled Wet Juicy Goodness are me actually beefing it on camera because people think farts are funny. So I'm like, hey, what if when I get real gassy, I just record a YouTube short of me beefing it just as loud as I can? Just to give you a break from like the crazy shit that I bitch about on my YouTube channel. I got a Cobra farted. Yeah, and it smells like Asperger's. What up, JFS fangirl? How you doing? Yeah, man. I fuck around with drop tuning on the guitar, and I came up with this. I don't know what the fuck you call it, but you know, like a little bit of drop B, and then like a drop B minor, I think. I don't know. I call that unholy tuning, like you know, like drop D is the devil's tuning. Like, I got the new devil's tuning right here. Yeah, man. Good shit. Ah, man. I still got like 2 left. Hey, there we go. Anyways, thank you for watching part 2. I'll catch you later.